The United Kingdom's plan to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda has cleared a major hurdle. The unelected House of Lords dropped some proposed amendments and has cleared the way for the bill to become law. The parliamentary stalemate was broken just after midnight.
The question is that motion A be agreed to. As many as are of that opinion will say content. Contrary, not content. The contents have it.
The House of Lords had been refusing to back the plan without additional safeguards, but in the end it relented. The law would send some asylum seekers to Rwanda, even if they have no connection to that country, in an effort to deter migrants from crossing the English Channel illegally, sometimes in some very unsafe conditions. And just hours after the bill was approved, 5 people died while trying to cross from France into the UK. Authorities say several boats packed with migrants attempted to depart the French coast in the early morning hours. A small, overcrowded boat was reportedly carrying more than 100 migrants when several people fell into the water. Let's turn now to Lauren Landau. He is a professor of migration and development at the University of Oxford. Professor, thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Professor, I want to get into some of the details of this legislation, how it would work, but begin with your initial reaction to the bill getting passed, and then almost immediately after people dying in that crossing into the channel. What do you make of this?
I think what we're seeing now is desperation from the part of the UK government, an effort to try to show that they're not completely powerless when it comes to preventing people to come. But of course, the strategies that they're adopting will do very little to stop people from coming, but it will result, as we've seen already, in more deaths, more suffering, more exploitation. I think they will be sued. I think they will have to overturn this law. But I think what we're seeing now is desperation and a kind of recognition that they've got no options to try to stay in power apart from doing this.
We'll dig into some of what you just said in a moment, but can we begin with a question I think a lot of us have, which is why Rwanda, of all places on this planet? Why not some small community in the UK? Why not another European nation? Why Rwanda?
Well, the UK has been putting asylum seekers in small communities in the UK. They've been putting them on boats offshore the UK even. But I think Rwanda is appealing to the UK as it's been to Denmark and to other countries because it's centrally located. It's hard to leave there and get somewhere else. And you have a compliant government in Paul Kagame who is trying to win favor with the West, trying to cover up and to get people to stop criticizing him for what might be war crimes in the Congo, what might be a kind of soft authoritarianism at home. And this is a way for him of building that kind of capital and an effort to try to take a problem off the hands of the British as they see it anyway.
Is money being exchanged here?
Oh yes, there's plenty of money, and I think there's direct investments in Kagame's schemes in Rwanda. They are being paid. The airlines or whoever is sending them will be paid, and people will be paid in terms of upkeep. But I think what Kagame is really after is not just the direct cash, but the long-term benefits of these kind of close relationships with the UK and with any other countries that he makes these kind of deals with.
Okay, so the British or the UK government is trying to manage its migration crisis. For the Rwandan government, Kigali feels like, okay, this could be of benefit to us. What about the actual asylum seekers who would theoretically be put on planes, sent over to Rwanda? What happens once they arrive?
That is anyone's guess right now. The British government has assured the people that the asylum seekers who are deported will be well taken care of, that their rights will be respected. But no one wanted to go to Rwanda. It's not clear whether they're going to be able to move elsewhere, whether they'll be able to work, whether they'll be held in camps. There are facilities there waiting for them. There are people waiting for them. They will be housed, they will be fed, they will get medical care. But after that, it's really anyone's guess what will happen. My guess is people will not want to stay there. They will try to find another way to come to the UK or to go somewhere else.
Let's talk about your concern that this is not going to work. Why do you say that?
Well, I think that even if they do manage to have this program and roll it out in the way that they've said, the number of people that they can send overseas is very small. It's extraordinarily expensive to ship people by air to another country, to maintain them in another country. And the UK is footing that bill. They're not capturing most of the people coming in, and most of the people they do capture will not be deported. So in that sense, it's not going to work even at just a logistical way. Will it work as a deterrent? That's what they say. It's very unlikely. If you look at the risks people face to get here from Afghanistan, from Somalia, from Ethiopia, wherever they might be coming, this is a very small risk compared to crossing multiple oceans, crossing deserts, paying smugglers, dealing with violence. If we're looking at trying to deter people, this is also not going to be effective. What it will do is result in greater deaths. It was going to result in lawsuits, but it's not going to result in fewer people coming to Britain.
So if you feel like it won't work as a deterrent, and it is going to prove to be very expensive and impact very few of the many, many people who are coming to the UK to seek asylum, then what would you recommend the government do if they're trying to sort of manage this mass migration that we're seeing in so many developed countries?
Right. I think the UK, compared to, say, Greece or Italy or even the US now at the southern border, is not really dealing with mass migration. It's not easy to get here. What they're dealing with is migration that is of a number higher than the British government, especially the current British government, would like to see. I think there are ways of dealing with this. There are collaborations that they've already started making with France, with other countries, to try to manage the border a little bit better. But probably the real policy is to rethink immigration long term, to rethink what Britain's skills needs are, its commitment to human rights, and to probably just accept that these people who come do have a right, as they do now in law, to stay.
The United Nations has highlighted their concerns about the British government moving forward with this and saying that if asylum seekers are sent to Rwanda, the UK cannot guarantee that they would be free from torture or other cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment in Rwanda. Where does Rishi Sunak's obligations lie? Does it lie with trying to protect national security, or does it lie with the international community and protecting human rights?
I think Rishi Sunak's obligations are twofold in that sense. He has to protect the security of Britain, and he needs to protect the rights of anyone who has come to Britain. And this rule does, or this policy does little to help on either front. It's not going to make British people safer. If anything, it's going to drive people further underground or make the kind of corruption networks of smugglers and traffickers who get people here even more emboldened. And it will put people's lives at risk. It will put their rights at risk. And it shows that Britain is also scoffing at its international law and legal obligations, which erodes its soft power and its relations with Europe and other countries. So it may have a stronger relationship with Rwanda after this, but it's going to be a weaker country overall should this continue.
Professor Lauren Landau, thank you so much for your time today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.